censorship is getting out of hand. Like,
oh my! That is a strong visual to put alongside that kind of a statement. I respect it.
I didn't edit this, by the way. This is real. Like, this
Oh. Oh, wait, that's...
is actually a real panel. The black boxes and everything on this panel covering Ruka, this is actually legit. This is what an official company that is licensing the series is doing to the manga. And I cross-checked the English release, the official English release, with the Japanese RAWs, and these black boxes are non-existent.
There are no words to describe the confusion and irritation I'm feeling right now. My face could say it all. But unfortunately, I do not have one. So all I will say right now is... let's play the Corporate Brainrot game. Let's see, we got nope, nope, nope. Culturally, yes, but that's not quite right. Nope. This will probably come into play in the future, but not right now. Number 16, incapable of admitting wrongdoings and mistakes. There's... nope, not that. Convenience is a better truth than reality. That's kind of just the self-delusion of the staff. Not really applying to the business model. That's not that one quite yet. Pretending to care is more important than actually caring. Unfortunately, they care a little too fucking much. Criminal activity is okay. I wish this was criminal activity. Unfortunately, it is quite real. Yes, it is quite the bullshit right here, Poppy. Where is it? Come on. I know it's here. I know it's here. Discrimination against hot women, yes, but that also isn't quite right. The customer is always stupid. Okay, I'm going to be here forever if I have to scroll through all 612 slides. So we're going to go with the customer is always stupid.
They do not exist in the Japanese version. They are completely gone. You wouldn't even know the chapter got censored. But if you go to read it legally in other countries, for instance, let's say in the West, you're greeted with this. And you're probably wondering, which company is responsible for this?
I am desperately wondering.
K-Manga. Now, this is not the first time.
Wait. Who the fuck is K-Manga?
That they have censored manga. I have actually talked about their censorship about a year or so ago, but this is really the first time I have personally encountered this rampant amount of censorship from their company, especially when you look at previous chapters of Rent a Girlfriend, like last chapter, for instance, that definitely, if this is getting censored, why didn't that get censored? And
because they decided to they probably got somebody new on the staff between that release of the previous chapter and this one, and the new staff member. Well, like I said earlier, the problem is that they care a little too much. They are also succumb to number 20, opinions are not allowed to exist. Although, again, that's just personal brain rot, not corporate brain rot. Although it is, quite hilariously, entirely possible that they just changed their minds completely as a company. But I think it's just a new staff member taking their power a little too seriously.
I'm just like, there is clearly whoever is in charge of this is very selective.
Also, is it bad that even though I've never watched or read Rent a Girlfriend, I instantly knew that this was Rent a Girlfriend? Is that bad? I feel like that's bad.
With what they want to censor, but their actual, terms or how they censor content is very loose. Like, they just pick and choose what chapter or what series they want to censor on a given week. Like, for instance, a chapter comes around, and they're like, you know what? We'll let this slide. Next chapter...
No, if it's changing on a bi-weekly basis and a bi-series basis, then that entirely lends credit to my theory that it is either one or a select group of staff members within the studio overexerting their power. and no management oversight that actually gives a fuck. That lends massive credence to my theory.
It comes around that has probably less content with it, less risque content, and they're like, you know what? We gotta censor this and make it basically an entire chapter of black boxes. This is completely unacceptable. And I would like to remind everybody, this is not a pirated version of Rent a Girl.
Why would a pirated version care? Like, this is the kind of bullshit you should expect from companies. I remember when I watched a redo of Healer, literally 90% of the screen was glared out during one of the scenes in that show. I was quite irritated. I had to pirate the show that I was already pirating on because they copied it from I don't fucking know what website, but they did. Oh god, yeah.
Girlfriend. This is a real legal reading version of Rent a Girlfriend. If you were to pay for a service to read this series, you would be greeted with this. And I want to.
But is it on the physical copy? Because if it was on the physical version, that would be fucking crazy. That would be that would blow my mind in the most cursed but hilarious way possible. I would turn into fucking Asmongold with how I geek out about how third world the world is getting. Like, that would be... Can you imagine the uproar? Like, this right now is like, what is it, like a small problem? 52,000 people are upset about this? I'd say that's a roughly accurate number. But imagine if you went to the store and you bought a $28 copy of this, and you turn to the front page, and this is what you got. There'd be lawsuits up the ass.
Also reiterate this. This is not just a Rent-A-Girlfriend problem. This is what K-Manga likes to do with a lot of their manga on their site. They do this continuously. They black box certain panels and completely hide things, and I'm just like, why even license a manga or even get the rights?
So that they can say that they have the manga. You don't understand is that, actually, this actually does perfectly fit one of the... Yeah, this is perfectly fits the narrative of a corporate brainrot symptom. Where is it? No. Okay, so it's on the earlier end. Public image, no. Listening and adhering to people not in your industry. Very close, but not quite. No criticism, close. Catering to the 1%. Actually, this does apply. So I'll touch on that briefly while I continue looking. Catering to the 1%. Basically, where you're trying to appeal to the small demographic that doesn't pay attention to your product. There's a lot of people who get upset about crap like this. And they want to keep those people happy. They want them to come in and watch this or read this. But the problem is these people Rent a Girlfriend has been out for a long, long time. So people have already made up their minds about the series. In fact, the manga already ended like forever, months ago? And this is just a continuation of it, if I'm given to understand. Yes, it is incredibly disrespectful to the artists. It is. Somebody worked really hard on that artwork. Like, this is really fucking good art. I was meaning to mention that somewhere, but yeah. Anyways, those people aren't going to read this. But they don't care. They think that, oh, hey, we're going to do it anyways. Anyways, so we're going to go with number 11, attaching your brand's identity to causes you don't actually support. Which is, they apparently disagree with this manga on some level. I mean, they don't agree with NSFW artwork or manga, but they're still buying and selling it to you, just heavily watered down and altered. And the reason they're doing that is they want to say that, yes, we have Rent a Girlfriend. Come watch us. Come subscribe to us. But then you don't get Rent a Girlfriend. You get 40% of Rent a Girlfriend.
to a series if you're gonna do something like this, because there's a lot of ways to look at this. First off, it's disrespectful to the consumer, because if you're paying for a product, you should get the full product instead of like 80 to 50% of the product. You expect the full meal, the full product laid on the table before you, not half of it because the chef or whoever's curating the food decided, oh, everything needs to bend to their worldview. If it doesn't bend to the worldview, it needs to be instantly censored. And I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, there's never been a better indicator to advocate for piracy for manga than this right here. Like, I'm just gonna say it like it is. I'm gonna be completely real, okay? I keep it real here, and this definitely causes me not to get sponsorships and work with official companies, but I keep it real here. I will never support an actual company that is this blatant and obvious with their censorship. Why pay like a subscription service or manga service or whatever, or any service, to blatantly censor something like this and to basically say you as an adult are not allowed to look at this. You're not allowed to look at legal content because whoever is in charge of this manga licensing or whatever feels like it's going to offend a lot of people, so you cannot see it. And I'm just like, I looked at the Rawls. I looked at the Rawls of the chapter. Yeah, there is some fan service and different things that go on within it. That's explicit. I'm not going to act like there isn't. But it doesn't show anything, technically. It doesn't. It does not show anything.
Well, that's good. Also, like, the name of the manga is Rent a Girlfriend. The audience is in the name. The people that would give this a try are people who would not care about her in a bikini.
It's implied, but it doesn't show anything. And the fact that they went this hard in the paint to paint the entire chapter pretty much with black boxes is ridiculous. There needs to be more people commenting on this, and I feel like a lot of people are letting this slide because it's Rent a Girlfriend. Because it's Rent a Girlfriend, people are just not caring about it, or they don't want to talk about it, but this is very much what I have been talking about. You can't pick and choose what you want censored or not, because if you allow something to be censored and think that it's never going to come back and hit you, you're dead wrong. Censorship hits everybody, and if it can happen to Rent a Girlfriend for something like this within a chapter, this can happen to, for instance, My Dress Up Darling, easily.
Oh no. Nobody is going to touch My Dress Up Darling. Right? Nobody's going to touch that. Right?
100% could happen to My Dress Up Darling or other
God damn it
manga on their platform. What I'm trying to say here is that this right here is bad. K-Manga gave us an absolute pile of dog shit that actually they should feel ashamed for. Nobody should be paying for this service for blatant censorship. This is disrespectful to the consumer. This is disrespectful to the artist. This is disrespectful to the offer. And once again, even if you dislike Rent a Girlfriend, you don't like anything about Rent a Girlfriend, you don't like the offer or whatever,
do your fucking job. Literally, all you had to do was look at it, digitize it, check that there was no problems, and there is no problems with her. She is fine as fuck. And then press upload. All you had to do. You guys have, the people running these manga websites have some of the easiest jobs in the world. In fact, I went to read a manga earlier. Just the other day online. And for some reason, not more than half of the panels were gone. And I couldn't figure out what the fuck was going on. Like, seriously? What is wrong with you guys? And so I went, okay, fine. I guess I just won't read this one. I'll look up another one. And with that one, a third of those panels were gone. I went to another one. All of the panels on that one were gone. How do you fuck up that badly? And then you have companies like this who, when the panels do fucking work, they don't. Why? You guys have the simplest job in the world. Okay, no problems here. Okay, nothing that could get us sued. Okay, the images actually fucking exist. Okay, upload. And then if somebody says, hey, there's a problem, you come back, you read it, and you determine whether or not they were lying, which should take 2 minutes.
It doesn't change the fact.
Actually, you know what? That's a good point. I think this stems from boredom. Yeah, it does. If they were overworked, no fucking way any of these people... This website might actually need layoffs for better performance. If they were more overworked, this shit wouldn't happen because they would have less time on their hands to waste on this kind of crap. I'm normally not one to advocate for layoffs, but I think that might actually solve the problem here, unironically.
Is that you don't do this to someone's art. And I am very curious if Japan is even aware of this. I mean, you want to know why I'm curious? Because I have seen where there is a lot of people within Japan that have become shocked to find out what is done to their anime or manga when it is taken overseas. I mean, recently there was a whole controversy with AI dubs, and Kadokawa went on record literally yesterday saying they were completely unaware of what Amazon was doing with their AI dubbing for like No Game No Life and Banana Fish, which...
That has to violate the terms of sale there in some form or another. If you're going to buy the rights to a product and then not tell them that you're going to be altering said product without their permission, that has to violate something. Anything. Kadokawa, we are not on the best of terms, but I'm begging you to sue Amazon. Please. I will pay for the lawyers. No, I won't. No fucking way. But if I could, I would.
Really indicates that a lot of these Japanese companies are not clued in on what these Western companies are doing with censorship or going out of their way to change things in...
Because they trust these Western companies. These Japanese companies understand how business works. But the problem is these Western companies don't. They don't know the first thing about business. All they know is profit maximization and pandering. And maybe a little bit of investing, but actually running a functional business that operates as a business, not as an exploitative machine, they don't understand it. All they're good at is maximizing profits, and sometimes they even fucking suck at that. Like, a good example would be Google. Now, this is a conspiracy theory. Truly, I have no evidence of this. But when I was coming up with an idea to compete with a new streaming service to compete with YouTube, I wrote down all the ideas of how it would work, all the features I would offer to make it a better service than YouTube, and all the features I could use to increase monetization value so that I could afford to compete with YouTube. Because you need a lot of fucking money. YouTube is massive. So I needed a lot of different ways to maximize profits, to increase earnings, to new ways I could monetize that YouTube currently wasn't. And I wrote all that on a Google document. And over the next 12 to 14 months, every single idea I had for maximizing profit had all of a sudden been added to YouTube. And not a single one that improved user interface, user experience, creator experience, because I had a lot of ideas for those two to incentivize them to switch over or at least go to the effort of dual posting on both of the websites. Nope. I had over 30 different ideas on ways to change YouTube or do YouTube differently and better for both parties, for the consumer, for the creator, and for the website. And every single one, not a single one was missed, that was supposed to be for increasing monetization was taken. And I cannot see that being a coincidence that Google owns YouTube. I wrote the ideas down on a Google document, and out of nowhere, those ideas those changes started popping up out of the blue. But again, that's just a conspiracy theory and an excuse for me to complain about Google and YouTube.
not even inform the Japanese companies. It's really disrespectful, and this is a very good case for that. Like, it is extremely disrespectful, and there is no business even reading this series legally if it's going to look like this. Just straight up. Now, there is a few other things I do want to say before I wrap this up. I strictly want to talk about this chapter. Chapter 404, I'm going to be honest with you, chaos. It is pure chaos, and it is shocking what actually happened, and I feel like a lot of people that are talking about the chapter, not talking about the censorship, they're not seeing the bigger point of view of what really happened. A lot of people are going to be quick to call Kazuya pathetic, and yeah, he's still pathetic, but what Ruka did in the chapter, she is 100% at fault. And even if we didn't want to say 100%, I think she's not 98, 99% at fault. But
yeah, no, I'm going to infer from context what happened from what I've seen. Like, I saw a couple of panels posted onto YouTube or Facebook a week or so ago. And from this and from the context of what he's talking about, I'm going to infer what happened. And from what I'm thinking probably happened, and how he's saying, like, oh, how people are going to say Kawase was pathetic, I'm guessing he rejected her. And that she probably tried to force herself on him in some way or another. I'm guessing that's what happened. And if that is what happened, I would say she is in the wrong. But I also understand where all the guys who desperately want Kawase to be happy, or at least want her, and I can see why they'd want her. Look at her. I can see why they'd be upset and annoyed. I do. She's wrong, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean. What was I saying? Sorry, yeah.
because what she did to Kazuya, she SA'd him. Yeah, she straight up SA'd.
Okay, so I was right. Yeah, that did happen. Yeah, no, not good thing for her to do. Not at all.
She did. 100%, that's what she did in the chapter. Like, yeah, that's exactly what happened here. She straight up did that. Like, he said no multiple times. He didn't want that. He didn't want to do it. He had his feelings and thoughts for Chizuru. And throughout the chapter, if you look at actually the raws of it, he's passed out majority of the chapter because he just doesn't know what to do. Like, he blanks out. His mind goes blank because he just doesn't know how to process what's happening. And regardless if you want to look at that as comedic or not, the point still stands is he did blatantly say already, within like last chapter and other chapters, no, he does not want to be with Ruka. He wants to be with Chizuru. And even if you like Ruka and you hate Kazuya or you dislike Chizuru, the point is that he made an official statement. He made a line saying no. She didn't actually accept that. She disregarded his feelings and she continued to push him to the point to where we saw what happened in this chapter. Crazy stuff, like actually legitimately crazy. And I'm not gonna lie, I think Ruka inherently as a person within the series, she's the worst person now. Like, she is strictly way worse than Chizuru and Mami put together.
Okay, well, I don't know anything about Mami, so I'm not gonna comment on that, but from what I've heard about Chizuru, it's kind of a tough call because these are two very, very different levels of bad. Two incredibly, deeply different levels of bad with different scales and consequences. And I'm having a hard time evaluating, like, really worse than Chizuru? Again, I haven't read or watched it, but I've heard stuff. I've definitely heard more than enough of some of the shit that's gone down there. But as a whole, I guess I'd have to agree with him. Yeah, Ruka might be worse. Is probably worse. I might read the manga now just to get context so I can make a definitive statement on it. But if we're talking about basic human rights and respecting of people's feelings, definitely and which should be the prioritized fundamental, yeah, Ruka would probably be worse. Why am I talking about this? We're supposed to be talking corporate brain rot.
Like, completely, and Kazuya. Like, any problems you have with those characters is nothing in comparison to what Ruka just did to this man. She SA'd Kazuya. Yeah, It's not okay. Like, it's legitimately not. I hope she faces a lot of repercussions for this. I hope that this causes Kazi to completely break it off with her and be done with her, because this is not what you do, and what she did was completely crossing the line. Completely.
Yes, you're right.
Like, she needs to face repercussions for this. But I'll leave it at that, though. Just wanted to strictly talk about the censorship, but also comment a little bit on the chapter. But I love you guys.
Oh, hey, it's right here again. Okay, I'm just gonna double check that we have that confirmed.